Okay, let's talk about that feeling. When you're maybe with one group of friends and you act one way, maybe tell certain jokes.
Yeah, like you have a specific vibe with them.
Exactly. And then, you're with your family and well, you're just different. Maybe quieter,
Mm-hmm. Or maybe you talk about completely different things.
right? Or even online, maybe you have this whole other persona. It kind of makes you stop and think, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, who am I actually?
Yeah. Or why do I feel like I'm kind of faking it sometimes? And that worry, am I ever going to just feel like me?
Those are such common questions people ask, and they really hit on what we're digging into today, this whole idea of identity confusion.
Mm-hmm.
And, we often link it to the teenage years because, well, everything's changing then.
Sure, that makes sense.
But honestly,
Mm.
it can pop up anytime. Any big life change, new job, new relationship, or even just when you start, thinking more deeply about yourself.
Right. Okay, so it's not just a teen thing. That's good to clarify.
Yeah.
So in this deep dive, we want to go a bit further than just saying, yeah, that happens.
Exactly. We want to unpack what identity confusion really is.
Uh-huh. And maybe look at some of the reasons why it happens, maybe some less obvious ones.
Yeah, beyond just like peer pressure. And then importantly, talk about some actual tools, maybe some different ways of thinking about
That'll
it.
help you navigate it.
Right. The goal really is to leave you feeling a bit clearer, maybe more empowered, and seeing this whole thing as, part of the journey, not just something stressful.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
So where do we start defining it, maybe?
Let's do that. Getting a clearer picture of what we mean by identity confusion. It's more than just acting a bit different here and there.
Okay.
It's more like a deeper feeling, a sense of being unsure about who you really are at your core, your values maybe, your place in the world.
Like feeling pulled in different directions.
Exactly. Pulled between, say, who you think you are
Yeah.
and who you think other people want you to be. Or even just pulled between the different versions of yourself, like you at school versus you at home.
It's like having, I don't know, too many different versions of yourself running at once, and you're not sure which one's the real one.
Yeah, or if there even is one single real one right now. You mentioned being pulled by expectations.
Yeah, what does that look like?
Well, think about all the signals you get, right? From friends. They might value certain jokes or interests.
Uh-huh.
Family might have ideas about how you should act or what you should do with your life.
Totally.
And then there's social media, which, well, that's a whole other layer of pressure, isn't it? With everyone presenting their best selves.
Oh, yeah. The highlight reel effect.
Right. And trying to navigate all that, trying to fit into these different boxes, it can make you feel fragmented, like you adapt so much, you kind of lose track of what you actually think or feel underneath it all.
So it's that tension between wanting to belong, which is superhuman,
Totally normal.
and wanting to be, like, authentic to yourself.
Precisely. That's
Yeah.
the core conflict often.
So, okay, feeling fragmented. How else might this show up for someone beyond just feeling awkward?
Well, some people talk about feeling fake a lot of the time, like they're performing.
Like putting on a mask?
Yeah. Or you might see someone constantly changing things about themselves, their style, music, even their friend group, almost like they're searching.
Searching for something that clicks.
Exactly. Trying to find what feels genuinely them. And underneath, there can be this anxiety, this worry that they'll never figure it out, that they'll always feel this way.
That sounds stressful.
It can be. And for lots of people, it also involves struggling with labels, gender, sexuality, culture, feeling like they need to pick one, define themselves, maybe before they're ready.
Yeah, that pressure to categorize yourself.
But the really key thing, and this comes up in the research, is that this period of questioning, it's not like a failure. It's not permanent. It's a process.
A dynamic process. I like that. Okay, so it's a process, not a problem necessarily. But let's dig into the why a bit more. We get to the social stuff, but
Yeah.
what else is going on? Maybe under the surface.
Right. Beyond just fitting in. Let's think about what's happening inside, biologically even, especially during those teen years.
Okay.
Your brain is doing some serious remodeling. That front part, the prefrontal cortex. It's responsible for all the complex stuff, thinking critically, self-awareness, abstract ideas,
Yeah.
and it's still developing.
Right, it's not fully baked yet.
Exactly. And that very development, that increasing ability to think about yourself and your place in the world, it naturally leads to more questioning, more self-reflection.
Huh. So becoming more self-aware can actually make you feel more confused initially. because you suddenly see all the complexities.
Precisely. It's like your brain's upgraded its operating system, and suddenly it's noticing all these different inputs and outputs, these different facets of you and the world.
That makes a lot of sense.
And then layer on those social pressures again. It's not just wanting friends. Sometimes it's a deeper need for validation. Social media just pours gasoline on that fire, right? Because you're constantly seeing these curated versions of everyone else's lives.
Yeah, and comparing your messy reality to their shiny posts.
Exactly. And that comparison can push you
Yeah.
to build an identity that gets likes, gets approval, even if it feels, well, not quite right inside.
Okay, so the biology and the social stuff are kind of feeding into each other. You also mentioned something about trying on roles, being healthy. How does that fit?
Yeah, so exploring different things, new hobbies, different beliefs, different ways of expressing yourself, that's actually crucial for figuring out who you are.
Yeah.
Think of it like trying on clothes. You see what fits, what feels comfortable, what you like. It's not being fake, it's data collection about yourself.
The data collection, I like that. But is there a line?
There is. The key is why you're doing it. Are you trying that new hobby because you're genuinely curious? Or are you doing it only because the cool kids are doing it? Ah, okay. So intent matters.
Big time. If you're always just mirroring others to fit in and ignoring your own gut feelings, that's when it can slide into feeling inauthentic and confusing. Genuine exploration is healthy. Constant mirroring isn't.
Got it. That's a really helpful distinction. What about the deeper stuff, like cultural or family expectations? You mentioned that earlier. How does that complicate things?
Hugely. When your own developing sense of self, your personal values start clashing with really deeply held beliefs or expectations from your family or your culture, that's a whole other level of conflict. It's not just about which music to like. It might be about fundamental things, career paths, relationships, religious beliefs, how you balance individual needs versus family needs.
Big stuff.
Yeah, and feeling caught between those, between your own identity and the expectations you grew up with, that can cause some really profound identity confusion. Trying to figure out where you belong, how to reconcile it all. Wow, okay. There are definitely layers to this. So for someone listening who's maybe nodding along, feeling kind of lost in all this, what can they actually do? What are some tools or maybe perspective shifts that help?
Okay, practical stuff. One really powerful tool, honestly, journaling.
Okay, like just writing down feelings.
Well, yes, but maybe get more specific. Give yourself some prompts. Instead of just, how was my day? Try asking things like, when did I feel most like me today or this week? What was I doing? Or the flip side, when did I feel like I was performing or hiding a part of myself? And why?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Or think about, who do I really admire and what qualities do I admire in them? That can tell you a lot about your own values.
Right.
And maybe the big one, if I wasn't worried at all about what anyone thought, what's something I would try or do differently?
Those are great prompts, much more focused. And what about mindset? You mentioned perspective shifts.
Yeah, a huge one is to challenge this whole idea that you need to find the final fixed version of you.
Like there's one answer you have to discover.
Exactly. Try thinking of identity as, well, as fluid, something that evolves. Like your taste in music changes over time, right? Your goals change. You change.
Hey.
It's not about finding a single permanent definition. It's about embracing the process of becoming. Realizing you don't have to lock yourself into a box right now. That can take so much pressure off.
It's more like a playlist you keep updating, not a statue you carve once.
Perfect analogy, yeah. Very much like that.
Okay. And social media, we know it's tough. You said set boundaries, but any specific tips there?
Be way more intentional about it. Don't just doom scroll. Curate your feed.
How so?
Unfollow accounts that consistently make you feel bad about yourself or trigger that comparison thing. Actively look for accounts that inspire you, that make you feel seen, or that align with values you genuinely hold.
Be a conscious consumer.
Yes. And remember constantly that you're seeing the highlight reel, not the messy behind-the-scenes stuff. Maybe even schedule time away from it, just to reconnect with yourself without that external noise.
Good advice. What about talking to people? Does that actually help?
Oh, no, absolutely. Don't underestimate the power of talking it through. With a trusted friend, a family member who gets it, a school counselor, a therapist.
Or even online communities.
Yeah, supportive ones can be great too. Just saying things out loud can bring clarity sometimes. And just hearing someone say, yeah, I've felt that way too, is incredibly validating. It makes you feel less alone. Plus, someone else might offer a perspective you hadn't considered.
Feeling seen. That makes sense. Okay, and lastly, you mentioned experimenting. Like trying on clothes. Can you give some examples?
Sure. It could be really simple things. Try that hobby you've been kind of curious about, pottery, coding, bird
Yeah.
watching, whatever, even if it feels weird or not you initially.
Okay, low-stakes stuff.
Yeah, or experiment with your style. Try different clothes, a different haircut, see how it feels. Maybe try creative expression, writing, drawing, music. For some people, it might even mean exploring different pronouns or labels related to gender or sexuality, if that feels relevant. The point is to try things with curiosity, not pressure.
Like gathering data again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See what resonates, what feels authentic, keep what works, let go of what doesn't. No big commitment needed for exploration.
Okay, so it feels like the big takeaway here is it's okay to be unsure.
Yeah.
That this whole confusing feeling is actually normal,
Oh,
maybe even useful.
totally normal. And yes, potentially really useful. It's often a sign that you're growing, you're thinking, you're engaging with the world and yourself on a deeper level. It's not a problem to be instantly fixed.
Right.
There are some really nice affirmations around this. Anything's worth reminding yourself, like, I don't need to have it all figured out right now.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Permission to not know.
Exactly. And it's okay to grow and change and question. Also, who I'm becoming is just as valid as who I used to be.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I like that one.
And maybe the most important, I'm enough, even when I feel uncertain. Really let those sink in.
Those are really powerful. So for everyone listening, navigating this stuff, remember that being a work in progress isn't a flaw.
Not at all. It's the reality of being human.
Yeah. That willingness to explore, maybe stumble a bit, learn, and try again. That's actually a sign of strength, right?
Absolutely. It's about self-awareness and courage.
So maybe a final thought to leave people with, consider this. What's just one small thing, something low pressure you can maybe do today or this week,
Yeah.
just to explore one little part of yourself that feels a bit fuzzy or unexplored right now?
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
one small step.